Okay, right. We are in the second round. It is Barboza versus Nurmagomedov Khabib. Okay, and we are going to see Khabib chain together a sequence of beautiful takedown attempts that will finish in the low single leg. Barboza in this fight doesn't look like he wrestles very well, but we're also going to look at his defensive techniques. Now, I have taken out quite a lot of the detail because the video got stupid long, so I don't want to bore you to death, but I'm just trying to highlight the important bits, and I want you to see if you can put them into your game, because if you can, you will be amazing. So here we go. We're going to see Khabib after giving loads of pressure to Barboza. Barboza cannot kick him or punch him or hit him or do anything because Khabib just won't let him. He just keeps getting in his face, doesn't let him sit, and now he's pushed him against the cage behind the black lines and he's going to shoot a double leg. He doesn't really want the double leg. All he really wants is the attachment. Okay, so Big John McCarthy's ass has got in the way, so he needs to move Big John McCarthy's ass out of the way. Now, with this shot, Barboza has done everything very well indeed. Now, we didn't see it because of Big John McCarthy's ass, but what Barboza did was he will have skipped his bottom into the cage, so he'll pushed his bum into the cage and folded down on Khabib. So he'll have pushed back and used that as a lever to fall down. At the same time, he will have split his legs wide so his feet are far apart, and he will have slammed his thighs against the cage. All right. This will have forced Khabib down the way, and it will stop him getting his hands together because his feet are too far apart. Khabib can't get his hands up to get a grip around here, which would help him get the double leg. And with the downward pressure, Khabib cannot step into the control zone to be able to get his weight underneath Barboza. Barboza has a collapsed underhook here, which he's going to start working with in a minute, and he has gone to the overhook because Khabib has stopped the underhook. So, brilliant piece of work by Barboza. He has managed to defend the double leg, but Khabib is already moving on to his next takedown. So what we're going to see is we're going to see Khabib move to his right. He's going to step his right foot to Barboza's left. And at the same time, we're going to see the hands come together. Now, Khabib here hasn't got his usual grip. Normally, he goes to a C-shaped grip where the hook of one hand and the hook of the other hand goes together. This is a very mobile grip. In this case, he hasn't managed to do that. I don't know why, but he's got a flat palm of one hand on the thigh, and he's got the flat palm of the other hand on top of that hand. This is not a very mobile thing, and this will play a part in the next sequence of takedowns. So, the first thing that Khabib is doing is he's lightening this leg. So his weight is over here now, and he's going to take Barboza's weight on here. He is pushing Barboza in this direction, and the sprawl that was effective against the double leg now is taking Barboza's weight over here. All right, later in the fight, we see him take down by just reversing out and pulling his leg from underneath him with an inside reap. But at this point, we're going to see him move to his favorite, or his old favorite move, which is a cutting single leg, where he cuts this leg across his own body, puts a knee or a thigh in behind it, and sits Barboza down on his bum. So we're going to see him attempt to do this. All right, so he lifts that leg. Now all the weight is over 1 foot. He's going to move this center of gravity, which is here, into this position. And he's going to put the post over here. So there is going to be no thing holding Barboza up at this point. So he swings the leg through, but Barboza does a brilliant job. He stomps his foot to the floor before Khabib can hit it and knock it over. He takes his weight to the cage, so instead of falling in this direction, his center of gravity has gone in this direction, and his center of gravity is over this leg. All right? The center of gravity would have needed to be here for him to fall. All right? He's doing everything fantastic. The overhook, not really doing anything. He's kind of reaching to try and rip the wrists apart. It's not happening. We can see Khabib's hands here at the moment. So we can see that he hasn't got that C-shaped grip. He's got a palm on top of the palm of the other hand. It's not very mobile. And that's where this move is going to go wrong now. He's going to go for his patented lifting sweep. So what he wants to do, he stepped his foot into the control zone, which means now he can lift our friend Barboza up into the sky. And normally what he would want to do then is, as he lifts him, he would take Barboza's body away from the cage, and as this foot steps down, he would sweep this foot from underneath him. Now, the problem with this is it's not going to happen because these hands aren't mobile. He can't get high enough fulcrum to make this work, but he's still going to go for it. So he's going to lift Barboza. Barboza's beautifully balanced. Okay, we'll just go back. And all he does is he goes completely straight. These hands can't slide up. He wants to slide these hands up, yeah, to get a good lift. He can't do that. And in the time that it takes Barboza to hop and regain his balance, put his weight back under his foot, there's no chance that Khabib is going to get his foot to sweep the back of his foot. So yet again, Barboza does a fantastic job in defending the sweeping single. The foot is already down, he's based. At this point, Barboza knows what's coming next. Normally, we would see Khabib hit, take his body down onto the thigh. He's going to try and run the pipe. He's going to use the length of his spine against the thigh, pressure down through the hip, and normally turn his head in this direction to make Barboza sit on his bum again. All right? Barboza knows this. What he's going to do is he's going to lift this underhook. He's going to drive his body weight down in this direction so he can't be pushed in that direction. Okay? And he's going to stop that lovely pipe of that leg. So there we see it. So now he's pulling out that leg. The pressure is going on the back of Khabib, and he's made the angle. Khabib can no longer push him in that angle, so running the pipe hasn't worked. So Khabib now moves to his next takedown. This is fantastic work, by the way, from Barboza. He's really got it going for him. This underhook's working. This overhook's working very well, and now he's going to try and separate the wrists. Now, the problem here is that Khabib is not going to do what we would traditionally do. He is actually going to work with Barboza's weight and his sprawl, and he's going to throw. Well, he's not going to throw, but he's going to move Barboza's weight over in this direction. Now, Barboza's center of gravity is about here at the moment. When he bases out on the floor here and he bases out on the floor here, what Khabib is going to do is he's going to try and take Barboza's weight as far away from those posts as they can, and as far away from getting another post in. So we call it a triangle. See if I can get Barboza's feet in the right place. So we've got a foot here, we've got a foot here, and where he wants his head is he wants his head to land about here, which means Barboza will fall in this direction. He will try and get a post underneath him. Now, Barboza's doing a fantastic job. He's collapsed his weight down on top of Khabib. So the weight is actually being carried on Khabib. He's got his overhook here and he's reaching his wrists together. So he is being taken in this direction, but he uses his athletic ability just to hop that foot around the corner, and he stops the possibility of being dropped onto the floor here. And it's pressure on the chest, the pressure on the back equals the pressure that's going through the thigh. So Khabib is collapsing the thigh down. As much pressure that he pushes down on the thigh is being pushed down through Khabib's body. We can probably see it better if I go back a bit. So here we can see Khabib running the pipe. He's pushing down on that thigh, and that shoulder is pushing down on him. Equal, I don't know, it's forces in physics or something. You know, it means that nothing happens if they're equal forces and all that kind of stuff. I don't know, it's maths. So we see him turn this corner. He's trying to make Barboza fall into that hole there. So he's trying to make him fall into that hole. Barboza hops around, uses his weight over Khabib to literally stay up, and puts his post back down. Beautiful. And at this point, Khabib now is going to step back and go back to his cut. Now, the cut is not going to be there because Barboza is going to be able to bring this foot in, and he's going to be able to make some distance. Now, you've seen that Barboza now is off the cage, so he hasn't got the lovely protection of this, but he's using his body weight on top of Khabib's body weight very, very well, just to stop him being moved around. So now we see Barboza start to work for an escape. So we've got Khabib. He's piped this leg. He really what he really wants from here is he doesn't think he's probably going to get the takedown, or he's going to try the knee cut again. It's not really going to work, but we're going to see Barboza do a beautiful limp leg. He's going to try and limp his leg out. He's going to create space, and he's going to pull that leg from Khabib's hands. Now, Khabib's let go here for a moment, but he's still got a very tight grip here. What we would want to see with Barboza is we want to see a straight arm, and we'd want to see him turn his hips towards the cage, and as one of my famous coaches would say, run away, all right, to drag that leg out. Khabib is going to go into a different system for dealing with this low single than a lot of people do, but we'll talk through that as it goes. So he's making space, and he's going to try and limp leg out. So he's going to pull away from Khabib. Khabib is just going to regrip, and he's going to charge in as Barboza moves away. Now he hits the cage. He's done actually a really good job of hitting the cage. Well, he's done a very good job, apart from one thing, which you can probably work out yourself. All right, his body is entirely flat against the cage. His body weight is over the top of Khabib. He has stopped him getting his hands together somehow, but sadly his legs aren't split, so his entire body weight, his entire center of gravity is over his feet, which are together here. So this is Barboza's first real mistake. It's his first point of no balance. He's now going to have to use his incredible athletic ability to get out of here. So in response, Khabib again is going to turn out, and he's going to look for a mediocre knee tap. All right, the knee tap really isn't there, but all he's going to do is he's going to pivot Barboza off the cage, which is what is holding him up at the moment. And because he's got no leg out here, he's going to stop that leg, or he's going to try and stop that leg stepping out, and he's just going to push him over. All right, so that's his next takedown. That doesn't work. Okay. It doesn't work. The knee tap doesn't work, but all Khabib is going to do is drive him over it. And as he gets driven over, he's going to get his hands together back on that single leg again. Now, even Barboza's not fast enough to get this leg out as a post. So the only way that he can post is he's going to be able to post by getting his knee down. He knows he needs to keep his body upright, and he knows he needs to keep his back against the cage, and he'll probably post on his hand as well. So he just isn't fast enough to get his foot out there, so his knee goes down as the post. And Khabib drives the shoulder into the hip and presses that hip into the ground. All right? So all the pressure is on that hip. The hip is being forced to the ground. Khabib's in a very dominant position at the moment. We see what Barboza is going to do. He's a really strong, athletic guy, so he knows the response to this now. Knows he needs to shove Khabib down his leg to try and escape the leg out with a limp leg again. So he's going to turn his hips away from Khabib. He's going to put his hand on the back of Khabib's head. Khabib's head is the nearest thing to him at the moment, so he wants to post on that. He wants to straighten his arm and step up. Okay, so he's doing everything right here. The straight arm means that Khabib cannot drive this way. If he tries to drive this way, then a straight arm's going to stop him doing that, and it's actually going to push Barboza into a better place. Normally at this point, as a wrestler, you would probably be gripping the knee here, and you would be driving your shoulder into the back of the knee and pinning the knee on the ground down here. Now, if you do that with this defense technique, Barboza's going to escape. So we see something a little different here. I don't know if it's on purpose. If it is, it's something that I've not seen very regularly. But we see Khabib is holding the ankle against his chest. He's not holding this bit, which means even if Barboza straightens his leg fully and straightens his arm fully, his leg's longer than his arm. So he can't get that leg out because he just hasn't got enough pressure. He hasn't got a long enough arm to pull it out. So Khabib is just going to hold on to the ankle, and all he's going to do is he's going to dive under this post. So normally you would get up with this post, which would push Barboza up. He would hop away and he would limp his leg out. What Khabib is going to do is actually going to drive through this leg, and he's going to drive the knee to the floor here. Now, normally, we would expect him to step back and drive the knee into the floor here, which would help Barboza, but he's not going to do that. He's going to drive under the post, and he's going to slam that knee to the ground here. Now, this looks awful for Khabib to me. You know, he's got ankle control, but this is all happening so quickly. We can see the amount of pressure that is going into that knee. That knee is securely trapped to the floor. This post is useless now, and it was useless through the whole of the entirety of the move. If we go back, see that post is nothing. Oh, it might have helped him stay up a little bit maybe, but that post is useless. So Barboza is now down on the ground, and I think at this point Barboza's just like, I can't do anything against this. What am I supposed to do? So we'll continue with the move. As I said, this is the never-ending video. So as Barboza lands, Khabib keeps that knee tight to the ground, and as soon as he can, he's going to build a base, but he's going to commit to keeping that ankle. All right. Barboza's going to do everything right again. He's going to get his back to the cage to be ready to rebuild his base, to bring his legs back underneath him and get up. Khabib's not going to allow him to do that because he's going to keep his ankle above his hip, which if you've ever tried to get up when someone does that, it's actually really difficult. So Khabib stands up and just lifts his ankle above his hip. Now at this point, he's going to do this with enough speed to stop Barboza being able to push himself up to one leg. He's just going to hold this ankle, and he's just literally going to walk in to Barboza and put this ankle on this hip. It's beautiful. It's fantastic technique. He just walks in and he puts the ankle on the hip and he just dives in. As soon as he connects the body here, he pushes the foot through and he's going to connect his hands into his classic C grip. So now he's got his C grip. He's got his body pressure here. He's got his head pressure over the top. The C grip's in on the hip, the shoulder pressure. Barboza wants to turn towards him. It's really not going to happen. This is awful. It leads to a lot of ground and pound. Look at this face. Oh my good God, it's all horrible. And I don't think we've got very much of it left. We've got Khabib with his head overhead. He's just holding him on the ground. Barboza's still desperately trying to turn on under here. Now, Barboza's got two choices. He can either turn away from Khabib, which he doesn't want to do, and give him his back, which is what Khabib is really going for, or he can try and turn towards Khabib, get his shoulder through here, and get underhooks and try and get up that way. Here we see Khabib is just going to step in to have one hook. Now he's offering Barboza some choices. You can either get up or you can stay where you are and try and build your base. If Barboza had got up, Khabib would have just took his back. If Barboza stays here, what we're going to see is Khabib stretch him out by hooking in that leg, pulling it through while pushing and keeping his head above his head. He's going to reach for the glove and he's going to pull it in and he's going to take him down to the side. So that was a very long video. I'm sorry it took so long, but hopefully what you can see from that is loads of little bits and pieces. As I say, I've missed out some bits and pieces as well because some of the nuances with foot position probably aren't thought out technique at that point, but are interested in themselves. And I want to look at that in a video in the future. I'm also going to do his ground control video, so I'm not going to take it any further today. So that's 18 minutes for something that took about 27 seconds. So, right, I hope you get something from this. I hope you learn from it. The chaining of these moves is beautiful. If you can do it, good luck.